My name is Amy Hoppy. I have been hosting this kitchen all weekend long, so I'm going to try and bring that energy into my own little performance over here. So we're going to make two really easy dishes. My way of cooking is really about simple food that everyone can make at home, that you can rope your partner into making. And because I lead quite a busy lifestyle, I also train a lot. I'm a triathlete and have a full-time job and family and cats and a few things. So I like to have quick and easy meals for the weeknights. So this is what we're going to make. And the first one we're going to do is a broccoli soup. Really, really simple, and you're all going to get to taste some, which is amazing. It's also really nutritious and great to have this kind of food this time of year when you're wanting that comfort, warm food after a cold day. So we're going to start off just by switching our pan on. So a little bit more about me. I was the food editor at Women's Health for many years. I do have a cookbook. You cannot buy it anymore. It was sold out. But you can find me on social media where I share a lot of my recipes at Amy_Hoppy on Instagram. And so we're going to start off with our first broccoli soup, just by adding a little bit of coconut oil to start. So you can use olive oil as well. It depends on really what you have in the cupboard. You can even use canola. Generally, olive oil you don't want to use at too much of a high temperature. Coconut oil has a higher smoking point, so it's really great if you're going to be doing a lot of hot frying. We are going to then add some onion and celery. So this has just been put together to make this much easier for me. Hello, welcome, come and join. So about one onion and 2 fingers of celery, let's call them. So we're just going to let this start coming up. Let's just see if this pan is hot enough. So I'm just going to give that a while. I wouldn't put the garlic in immediately because the garlic will then tend to burn if you want it to cook at the same time. So rather give the onion a little bit of time to cook first with the celery. Just heat this up ever so slightly. I wish I had this many beautiful Le Creuset pots at home. I do not, but they are so beautiful. So this recipe, we're going to be using just some fresh broccoli, but obviously if you just have frozen broccoli in the freezer, for example, like McCain's broccoli, it's really easy to have on hand, whip out of the freezer, and it works perfectly for the soup. Please come in if you'd like. There will be soup to taste. Because we're doing a plant-based recipe, we're going to be adding some coconut cream in for that richness. It's actually perfectly fine without. So if you're doing more of like a weight loss program or you're watching your calorie intake, the potatoes that we'll put into the soup will give it that natural creaminess. But because we're spoiling ourselves today, we like a little bit of richness, we're adding that coconut cream. So let's just see if these are taking a little bit long to get sizzling. But what I'm going to do, because we're limited for time, imagine that the onions have now started sizzling, and now we will add our garlic. I'm a really big fan of garlic. It's great for boosting the immune system, and I pretty much put it in nearly everything I make. So let's just add some of that in. Perfect. And then we're going to add some chipotle spices. This is just to give the dish a bit of a smoky flavor. You could also just use some basic spices like coriander seed, perhaps a little bit of chili flakes, some cumin. You just want to create those little bits of warm flavor. So the chipotle adds a slight smokiness. So we're going to just add that into the oil so it can start to release those beautiful flavors. Give that a little bit of a stir. So I'm a big fan of chili. But my partner told me at one point when I'd started cooking meals for him, he doesn't need to have chili at 3 meals a day. So I started calming down my use of chili, but I do love it because I find that not only does it make your food, give your dishes a beautiful bite of flavor, but it's got immune boosting properties and mood boosting properties. So I think just adding a pinch of chili to the dishes that you make just gives it a bit of powwow flavor. So before I add the potatoes and broccoli, I'm just going to make the vegetable stock. So I've boiled some water over here, and we're just going to add about 1.5 cups or 2 cups of water. And I'm going to just use 1 tablespoon of vegetable stock. The stock I'm using, because I'm being quick, is a ready-made stock from Nomu. I actually do use this in my home kitchen. I think the Nomu products are really high quality and very, very easy to obviously have that on hand. If you're feeling fancy and you have lots of time on a Sunday, you can make your own vegetable stock. So I'm just going to have this ready to add. Put this here. Once we put in our veggies, So next up, I'm adding our potato, which will give the soup that creaminess when you blend it, and our broccoli. Right. Broccoli also so good for you. I'm a really big fan of broccoli. I know it's not everyone's flavor, but I love a bit of grilled broccoli on the side of any dish. That beautiful bright green color is just so pretty. We're going to add our stock. And again, because we're doing this in demonstration form, we're going quite quickly. So do mind that I wouldn't be doing it just like this at home. And we do have some beautifully created broccoli soup from the kitchen at the back. We've got a ton of kitchen fairies that have been making delicious food for us all weekend long. So what we do is then give this a bit of a stir, allow this to cook off. The broccoli will get nice and soft. The potatoes will get soft as well. And then we would finish it with some coconut cream and some fresh parsley. What I'm going to do is to magically transition into the ready-made soup. So all you do in this case is take a handheld blender, wait for the soup to cool down slightly, and then just buzz it until you get that smooth consistency. I don't mind if there's a little bit of chunky veggies in between, but this is obviously a beautifully smooth broccoli soup. Just give a little bit of a stir, and we're all going to be tasting some of this shortly. I'm going to spoon some into the bowl and just do a little bit of a simple garnish, because even a soup can be elevated by a few little touches. So we've got a beautiful Mervyn Gers bowl, also Cape Town local ceramicist who I love. I do actually have this exact bowl in my kitchen at home. Lovely for soup. So just spooning that out. And then what I typically do with a soup like this is just give a little swirl of the coconut cream at the end, because it just adds that beautiful color and extra texture. Just give a little shake. And we're going to be adding some fresh parsley. You could also add some coriander. I do love coriander, but I know not everyone is a massive coriander fan. So we're just going to add a little bit of parsley. And I love a bit of lemon with broccoli. I think they're really good friends. So I like to add a little bit of lemon zest as well. If you're tasting your food, and this goes for stews as well as soups, and you feel like it's just missing that little bit of like brightness, just add a little squeeze of lemon juice or even some lemon zest. It has that beautiful aroma. So I'm just going to quickly grate some of the zest over. Okay. It's always so tricky cooking in front of people in a kitchen that isn't your own with tools and equipment that aren't yours. I'm always so worried about cutting myself. But I think I have survived. Let's just use this. Okay, great. Wonderful. So really just a nice, simple, quick, easy weeknight meal. And I'm a big fan of olive oil too. Also has a lot of health benefits. So I just also add just a little touch of olive oil to the soup. Because there's sodium already in the stock, I'm not adding extra salt, but I do believe that we cook to taste. So it's important to just taste your food first before adding more salt to your food. And then a good grinding of black pepper always, I think, adds quite a nice touch. So I'm just going to let the photographers do their work. But I would like to invite you all, it's going to take a little bit of work, to ladle some soup for yourself into a cup and have a spoon and enjoy that while we prepare the next dish. Is that okay? You all feel okay to come up and grab some soup? What I'm going to do is add my own little swirl in here, so it looks like we're all having a little bit of extra richness. And let's add in some fresh parsley as well. Beautiful. Another drizzle of olive oil. Divine. And here I have for you some cups and some spoons. Please come and grab some. If you were with me at home, I'd be saying, please come and spend more time with me in the kitchen. It's not so formal. We've had some incredible chefs with us here this weekend. I'm a much more relaxed cook. So help yourself. Here's a ladle. I'm going to just bring that a little bit closer to you and enjoy some of the soup. I haven't actually tried this yet. It's come obviously from the kitchen fairies in the back. So I'm going to scoop some in here so I can also just give a little bit of a taste. Oh, it's very salty. This is just a quick broccoli soup. This is a little bit salty. I'm going to just say I've because it's been reducing for quite a bit of time in the kitchen at the back. So again, like I mentioned, because we're using stock, always just check your salt levels when you're cooking. So you're also welcome to grab a little bit more of the coconut cream if you want to give yourself a little bit of a spruce up decoration. And then we're going to get going on our second dish here on the side. In the meantime, I'm just going to get this pan on. There we go. Not such a high heat to begin with. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for. Oh, but actually, it takes a while to heat up with these. That's true. The cast iron actually does take longer to heat up. So, but once it is heated up, it retains the heat for a long time, which is why these Le Creuset pots are so fantastic. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So while my lovely kitchen assistants are handing out some soup, and it is a little bit salty, I just want to say, it has been prepared in the kitchen, but it's been reduced quite a bit during the last couple of hours while we're waiting for the segment. So just be aware of that. There is some coconut cream. Just add a little swirl of that into your cup and enjoy. Our next dish has a few more ingredients, but it's also quite simple. And it is a cauliflower and kidney bean curry. So you will also get to try some of this afterwards. So please be sure to stay and grab some of that. So we're going to start just by putting some coconut oil into our pot. So this pot's already a bit hotter. This coconut oil is melting quite quickly. I'm going to go quite quickly through this recipe. We have 1 brown onion, just finely chopped. It's always my trick to make someone feel like they're very welcome in a home is the smell of cooking onions. It's really just makes you feel so comforted. So I'm going to let the onions sweat for a couple of minutes before I add the ginger and the garlic. So what we're using today is, again, quite an easy recipe. The kidney beans, you buy them tinned, so already super easy to add in. And I'm using frozen cauliflower and peas, also from McCain. So again, a recipe that you can go out my freezer, out of my pantry. I've got a couple of fresh ingredients like the coriander, but even your tinned tomatoes, your tomato paste, spices. This is a really like pantry-friendly recipe. So we're just going to sweat these onions down for a little bit. And we are using fresh ginger and fresh garlic for this recipe. So I am going to move through it again quite quickly because we're on demonstration time. So just adding about a tablespoon of garlic and ginger. And for our spices, I've got quite a list. So to make sure I don't leave anything out, I'm going to read it out to you. Is that okay? For those of you that are interested, I'm going to pass it around before we add it, just so you can smell what the spices are. If you don't mind just passing it around to each other, and then I will let you know exactly what is in that bowl. So we have a mix of cumin, crushed chili flakes, turmeric, cardamom, cinnamon, Kashmiri red chili powder, garam masala, and ground coriander. So really a lot of beautiful warm spices. And in Cape Town, I buy a lot of my spices from Atlas Trading in Boerkaap. Find that they have incredible spices, and when I'm lucky enough to go to Durban, I always make sure that I buy some spices there too. My dad always said to me that that's where the best spices are from, and he grew up in Durban, so he's very passionate about that. I'm going to come grab those back from you so I can add them to the dish. Lovely, comforting, right? So I just moved house last weekend, so it has been a really full week for me, and I sadly had to discard some of my spices. I tend to build them up in a cupboard, and then every now and then I have to replace them. So now I'm excited because I get to go spice shopping again. We're just going to add these to the pan. There we go. With some curry leaves, give this a little bit of a stir. And you should be able to then smell as that aroma releases, hopefully soon. I'm going to add a little bit of more oil. Perfect. I'm good. Thank you. Our kitchen team has been working so hard in the background all weekend long. They have been fantastic. Okay, just get that more of a stir. Okay. Just want to let those fragrances release. Okay. And for the rest of the recipe, we're going to move quite quickly. So I think I still have some hot water in here for our stock. So again, adding about 2 cups. And I'm using my Nomu vegetable stock. About a tablespoon. Just giving that a little bit of a stir. Okay, nice. Beautiful. Can you smell the spices yet? I want to share them with you because it's smelling so great up here. Okay. Now we're going to add some tomato paste, again about a teaspoon. The acids just help to also release what's being stuck on the bottom of the pan. And here I've got some tinned tomatoes, so just popping those in. Get that sizzle going. And just turn this up ever so slightly. Our frozen cauliflower from McCain, so easy to just pull out of the freezer. Just going to pop some of these in. Now, because they are frozen, it's going to drop the temperature of the curry, so we must just be aware of that when cooking. So typically, I'd let this cook for a little bit longer, then add the red kidney beans a little bit closer towards the end, maybe about 10 minutes to go. So adding some peas here too. So we've got a real nice mix of nutrients, and obviously our peas are a great form of plant protein. Kidney beans, again, a lovely form of plant protein. I love kidney beans. I really like making Mexican-style dishes at home. So instead of a chili con carne, I make a chili con bean. And it's so great to use not only for your tacos or nachos, but to just have on toast, to make a beautiful burrito with, Mexican bowl, Mexican-style Buddha bowl. So you're just going to let this all cook together with your stock. Just pour this over, enough to kind of let the water cover those veggies. And then you'd set that aside. So my partner, who doesn't really cook much but has a lot of opinions on cooking, he does have a great way to identify if something's missing from a dish. I don't know if you have people like that. You go, taste this, what is this missing? Oh, it's needing some lemon, or it's needing some pepper. He cooks occasionally, and it takes about a whole day, 8 hours. And he always says, dishes like this, they need time. And even though this is a quick meal and you can make it quickly, I always find a curry is even better the next day. I don't know if you agree with me. So make this for dinner. The following day when you have it for lunch, I find it has just expanded its beautiful flavor profile. So here we have a ready-made dish that has already been heated up. Voila. I'm just going to give that a good stir. And turn that off. Perfect. So that has been cooking away in our kitchen at the back, and it's nice and thick and chunky. So you can really see how that has all come together. It forms quite a hearty meal. I'm going to spoon some of that into a bowl, and we're going to decorate this very simply, just with some fresh coriander leaves. Let me just find a spoon. I don't know if I have another clean spoon here, so just mind me for this portion of the meal. And I also find cauliflower is such a versatile ingredient, really absorbs all those beautiful flavors. Love cooking vegan, vegetarian food with it. So here's our little hearty bowl of curry, and I'm just going to pick these coriander leaves off. for garnishing. I do use the coriander leaves and stem when cooking because I do try and avoid waste. Just for the garnishing here, what I'd normally do in the beginning of the cooking process is just separate out some leaves and then add some of the rest of it into the meal. Okay. So there we go, quite simple, just comfort home cooking. And I'd love to invite you to all try some of the curry as well. So I'm going to bring more of these cups around and have spoons. If you would like to help yourself, I just want to also give this a little bit of a taste because I never know what it is like coming out of the kitchen at the back. It is very nice. A little bit spicy, like me, but delicious. So if you feel like coming up, please come and grab some. You can also soften that spice with a little bit of coriander cream once again. And that is really the simplicity of this beautiful demonstration. So thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon.